Yes, people, welcome back to the channel with the Oniaya, and today we're just bringing you a few topics around the football world. We're talking about Jack Grealish and where he would end up next. Is it Spurs? Will he stay at City or will he go to Everton? We're also talking about Newcastle United and their struggles in the transfer window, what's going on there and why I think they're struggling. Also, we're talking about the other United and how well they've been doing in the window and them being linked to a young midfielder and them also selling a young midfielder. We're all doing that today in the Oniaya. So Jack Grealish, one of the most unprofessional footballers out there right now, has been linked to a move to Tottenham and or Everton because Man City and Pep have told him he needs to go. So he hasn't been a part of the Club World Cup squad, so which means that he needed to go. So Jack Grealish, and I totally understand why they want to get rid of him because he cost them 100 million and he's not putting the numbers for a 100 million player. Do I think that transfer was a failure? I can't say that when one of the seasons he was one of the most integral players in their treble winning season. But other than that, he's been crap for them. And not only crap, but he's been caught up in the media with drinking and all these things. And the media has slowly pushed these things in a box and threw them away, while they consistently bring them back for players like Marcus Rashford. Now, when you look at things like that and you hear people call like racism in the English media and bias, you have to think about it and look at what really goes on and actually agree sometimes. Now, I'm not the young man I really want to tell any young man to believe racism and bro, work hard for what you want, no matter the color of your skin, God will bless you, for sure. But when you look at how the media deals with both players, it's a massive disparity and bias towards both. And the English media needs to do better because I remember when Marcus Rashford was being rumored to Barcelona, they were like, oh, why is he going to Barcelona? Who do he think he is? Why does he think he needs to play for Barcelona? Or he can go to Barcelona. Barcelona doesn't need him. All these things were being said. They were talking about the car he drives, what time he goes to training, the color boxes he wears, everything. Everything they spoke about Marcus Rashford. But Jack Grealish is the total opposite. It's the total opposite. Oh, it's a World Cup year. Jack needs a new challenge. Jack needs to find a team that's going to play his way. None of those things were said about Rashford to rejuvenate his career. None of those things were said about Rashford to help that guy become a better player or go somewhere to be better. Everything about that transfer, even up to now, it's still negative. It's amazing to see the disparity between the bias between both players. But then now, talking about disparity and bias and players, let's talk about Alejandro Garnacho, because this young man is a talented young man, but Garnacho doesn't understand that there are ways of going about getting what you want, one, in the media, and two, for yourself. This young man hasn't developed the cognitive to understand certain things, and the people that advise him are even worse. Now, his brother needs a slap, bro. Because your younger brother is a talented footballer who just needs to curb his attitude to elevate into world class. You know, the guy has talent. A lot of people from Manchester United want Garnacho to fail. But Garnacho will be a top player at Chelsea. Don't kid yourself. If Enzo Maresca can calm him down, elevate his mind and allow him to become better, Garnacho will grow. Now, do I think that is a great environment for him to grow at Chelsea? Who knows? You know, when there's a team full of young players, when things aren't going right and they look and they look right, and you can't really see anyone who's experienced it before, have done it many times before, the locker room can start to get a bit disarray. So, with a player like Garnacho with his attitude, if things aren't going right for Maresca, I think he will be one of the players that can go across and cause a problem, can cause rumors, can cause things to happen. He has those tendencies. He developed that from the players like a Jadon Sancho, who did that many times to manipulate his way to go to Dortmund, to get time off when Ten Hag gave him time for training, and then came back and bashed the same people, United and Ten Hag, for helping him. What an ungrateful SOB. But anyways, looking at that, you see Garnacho developing certain traits that you don't want him to have because he can be a world-class player. Not talking about Garnacho also and that aspect about it and his attitude. You have a young player, Manchester United, looking at with great attitude, great charisma, hard-working, high-level potential world-class player in Carlos Baleba. And they also did the same when they brought in Cunha, Mbeumo, and Sesko. Now, these guys are all young within their career. I mean, Baleba and Sesko is a lot less younger than Cunha and Mbeumo. And hear me rumoring Baleba like he's already at United. But based on the way in which the club has been moving, other than the other United in Newcastle, which we'll talk about very soon, is an issue. And you see that Baleba is going, if he comes in, which I hope he does, and Manchester United give me this little dance at the Stretford paddock. Please, Bruno, if he comes, give the man a penalty so we can... Yo! At the Stretford paddock. At the Stretford end, I promise you, he'll be talking about Stretford paddock. But yeah, like, I'm telling you right now, Baleba has a lot higher ceiling than Garnacho, even if they have different positions. But his mentality, his mindset, his ambition is what Manchester United is looking for. Somebody who is happy to be at the club, who wants to be there, who sees that an opportunity. And that is why Manchester United still have that pull and why they went after Baleba. Now, talking about Baleba and having pull, we see another United who is struggling, Newcastle United, to bring in players. Now, I have my reasons why I think Newcastle is struggling to bring in players. And I'm going to tell you in a second. But before I do that, just listen to the name and the length of players that they've missed out on in the last, 2 windows. Sesko, obviously, as we know, that's the ripest one. They got Nicholas Jackson they're rumored with, but he's also rumored with Bayern Munich. So, in the way in which they've been going in this window, do we actually give them a chance? No. We look at John McGinn. We look for a replacement for Sean Longstaff. Ivan Toney, Fikori Tomori, Jared Bradwick, Pedro Neto, Michael Olise, Jonathan David, Calvin Phillips, João Paulinho, and Gonzalo Inacio. The only player on that list that was close to Newcastle is Benjamin Sesko. And when the big boys came calling, he quickly left. He was like, Newcastle, I'm gone. There's no way you can get me. So, they struggled to bring in that line and quality of players. Now, their talent ID is high, don't get me wrong. They've been going after high-level players, but they just can't lock them in. Now, Eddie Howe was involved in the bringing in of the Alexander Isaks, the bringing in of the Brunos, the Tonalis. Well, actually, Tonali was brought in by the CEO at that time. But then you have the younger players like the Anthony Gordons, the Harvey Barnes. Listen to the quality of those players, but also listen to when they went to Newcastle. They went to Newcastle when they weren't... Isak wasn't Alexander Isak. Newcastle made him Alexander Isak. He smashed the Premier League 2 years in a row. Everyone's like, yeah, now is the time. No one was going to take that risk on him. There were a lot of teams that wanted him, but they did not want to take the risk. And a lot of teams regret. I remember United being rumoured. I remember Arsenal being rumoured highly on Isaac when he was at Real Sociedad. I remember big time he was being rumoured. And even to the point where there were even close rumours to the point where people thought it would what happen with one of those clubs. And no one wanted to take the risk. So he ended up at Newcastle. Now, Eddie Howe was good in bringing those players who needed a chance and a first try to play in the Premier League who weren't big name players. But now Newcastle are swimming with the big boys. Eddie Howe, no one, in my opinion, wants to play for Eddie Howe. I don't think there's no high-level elite player like Ilanga will play for Eddie Howe. You know what I mean? Maybe even the lap said no. You know, there's a lot of people that said no to, there's a lot of people that said no. You know, I didn't even name players like Joe Pedro. I didn't even name players like Liam Delap in that list that I named. I just named like wild rumors that they were named to possibly being close to that you can say on that list. You know, I can see Newcastle picking up one or two of these players. But none of them ended up there. None of them. Because none of them, I promise you, there is no one that can change my mind on this. It's not about the magnitude of Manchester United or Chelsea or any of these clubs. Because, you know, Tomori ended up at AC Milan. You know, like, we have to just look at a few things. You know, a lot of these players, Ivan Toney ended up at Saudi. And he was linked to Newcastle. You know, so we have to look at it. And I just think that a lot of players just don't want to play for Eddie Howe. Now, a lot of people might come after me and call me crazy on this video and say I'm delusional. And they will say all kind of things. Maybe somebody in the English media might pick up this and run at me. But the English media also is this is another thing. Look how they deal with Eddie Howe. They love Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe was relegated with Bournemouth. But all of us forget that. All of us will forget that. The English media wants to forget that because they wanted to believe that Ruben Almiron coming at 15th is the worst thing that could ever happen. But here you have Eddie Howe getting relegated. Yes, he was at Bournemouth, fine. The money and the quality of the players and all that wasn't there or whatever. You can say whatever you want. But at the end of the day, he was relegated with that team. He won the championship. He won the Carabao Cup. That's all this man has won. In his playing career, in all of his life, both playing and both as a manager, that's all he's won. Now, when I'm on the phone with a manager, and I'm a player, and I get a call from Eddie Howe, or I get a call from Ruben Amorim, playing the World Cup, 200 games for Benfica, playing the Champions League, playing the Europa League, playing with Cristiano Ronaldo, playing with Figo, playing with top players. Okay? He managed Sporting and won them the best in the league in 19 years. Okay? This man have 3 Premier Leagues, Portuguese Premier Leagues as a player. As a coach, he has one. He's won leagues with Bragaby. He's won leagues with Casapia. He's done so much as a manager. Not only that, he can speak more than one language. He has charisma. He is young. And he have the backing of a top club. Of course, players are going to go there. You don't even have to even think about the magnitude of the club. You just have to look at even the coach and overall as a person. Who would you want to play for? Who would you want to learn off of? Come on. There's no comparison. But then, Newcastle fans want to make it seem like it's also about money. It's also about Benjamin Sesko took a pay cut. And they paid less than they initially even offered Leipzig because they went in for him a year ago. So they gave them a gentleman's agreement. But I think Leipzig's just trying to soften up the bed to make a bid for Rasmus Højlund or Joshua Zirkzee. That's what I think they're trying to do. If I'm being honest. They're just trying to feather up the bed take the thorns from the roses and just make it a lovely place so they can come after one of our strikers. For sure. There is no doubt. It's just economics, you know. It's just how the world works. It's business. But then, talking about that, no one really wants to... No, I'm telling you, a lot of players have turned their back on Newcastle because of the manager. Because of the manager. And you know how I know this as well? Even in reports that came out that they were saying that the owners is the first time they spoke to a player trying to get Seshko, because most time is Eddie Howe and the other Howe and every other Howe involved with Newcastle, and all the backroom staff is who try to speak to the players. They can't get it done when they speak to Eddie. So the owner say, hey, we could intervene and try. That didn't work. Every player must speak to Ruben Amorim. Every player must speak to Ruben Amorim. Every player. He said that it's a guarantee. I speak to them to see where they are, what they're doing, how they're going to go about it, if they want to play for Manchester United. And if we get that feeling, if we as a team get that feeling, then we buy them. So let's stop comparing both clubs, and also Newcastle, just get over yourself. You are a club that needs to give opportunities to players who needs a chance to play somewhere else in the Premier League. Or you are a team who needs to give a player a chance to play in the Premier League. You're not a team who needs to try to play with the big boys. You're not there yet. You're not there yet. Right now, you're playing level 3 on Subway Surfer. You're not on level 20, bro. You're not on level 20. Keep easy on the track, Newcastle. Yes, people, it's been your boy Yaya, just bringing you some short news and a little roundup on what's going on, explaining to Newcastle fans and everyone that they need to calm down. Manchester United is just a bigger juggernaut. And if you think that no one wants to play for Eddie Howe, if you think I have a point, please let me know on the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the page, and keep hitting the bell for notification. It's been your boy Yaya. Have a good day. And you do one thing for me. Stay sexy, people.